Hola amigos and welcome back to the F4 Spanish Championship 2025. It has been a fantastic second weekend of the championship here at Circuito de Navarra. So far, we've had a victory for Jan Petrowski and a victory for René Lammers, although the Dutchman knows in his mind he is the double winner after the first two races. The first race taken off him for track limits infringement penalty. The second race earlier today, won at a canter by the Dutchman. Now we go into the third race of the weekend with the championship locked and loaded between the top three drivers. Only 2 points separating the top three men. Jan Petrowski has 80 points, René Lammers has 79, and Thomas Straven has 78. It really is that close in the championship. But just to spice things up even more, we go into this third race of the weekend with a completely different pair of drivers on the front row of the starting grid, just to make it all the more exciting in the final race. Also, the skies over the Circuito de Navarra circuit, as you can see for yourself on our live pictures, are getting darker all the time. I have a bad feeling about this. It could be a rain shower all the way through the third race of the weekend. Certainly at some point in the proceedings, it could be a very difficult set of circumstances. For the moment, though, it's going to be Juan Cota and Ian Eichmans that share the front row of the starting grid. And there you can see the rain cloud over the mist, over the mountains here. It's going to be a very difficult race to predict. If those clouds break at any point during the race, anything is likely to happen. René Lammers will be third on the grid from Jan Petrowski in P4, then Thomas Straven P5, and in sixth position on the grid, there will be Andrej Petrovic for the T-code by Amtog squad. Up and down the length and breadth of the grid, it is a bit of a topsy-turvy grid behind the top six. Noah Montero is the leading rookie. That's not a massive surprise alongside Hudson Schwartz. Vivek Canthan and Nathan Ty rounding up the top 10. Then things get interesting. Miguel Costa is joined on the sixth row of the grid by Renaud Franco, who didn't get the qualifying session he wanted. Then 13th and 14th, Francisco Monarca of the Mondau Motorsport team will line up alongside Chris Elfagali. Another difficult session for the Red Bull Junior in the Drivex. Filippo Fiorentino will line up alongside Sacha Van Bosch. Good progress made by the Dutchman in the T-code by Amtog car. Then 17th on the grid is Nicolas Schaufler alongside the Argentine Gino Trapper. Then Alfio Spina down in 19th, not where he wanted to be, alongside Matas Reiber. Another difficult starting position for him on the 10th row. Lorenzo Campos and Santino Panetta will be on row 11. Stepan Suslov will be alongside Kyoho Lee. Then Nacho Tunion, Alexander Jacobi, Victor Dobzhanska, and then Santiago Bastarica, along with Caden Higgins, Daniel Dalakian, and Alexander Begunovic. Down on the grid, Alex Garcia is keeping one eye on the screens, one eye on the skies. This could be a very interesting third race, Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Jake, this is going to look like an interesting race, especially because the sky is looking really, really menacing. So I know that the teams are keeping an eye as well on this sky, considering that we have already some water falling on our heads right now. So this is looking bad, but also really, really good, because this increases the excitement a little bit. And if we're talking about excitement, I have to mention the man behind me, Juan Cota, who has been, I think you will agree to that, the fastest man to do the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, of course. Juan Cota, the king of Valencia last year, who is back this year with a clear mission to be the title contender that maybe last year he couldn't be, but that he was always meant to be. You need to chase your fate.
Well, they do say rebellions are built on hope, so maybe Juan Cota is going to be changing things up in this third race of the weekend. The crowd are making a lot of noise, so that's obviously going to be an interesting end to the weekend for them. But what is rain going to throw into the mix here, Alex? Because this is a circuit that really does lend itself to drama in the dry, in the wet. Goodness knows who's going to have the upper hand.
Yes, exactly. We've seen that the track is already... you would not think that it is a track where it is easy to fight and to overtake, but it has proven itself to be. We know that wet races tend to be a little bit more chaotic, but maybe there is a little bit of a silver lining to it, which is drivers have already driven in the wet here this weekend, because they were able to drive a little bit on Friday. So they have a little bit of experience, and that means that, you know, they will not find so many surprises as they would if they hadn't had the chance to drive during the whole week. And I was talking to René Lammers earlier, and he was saying, I'm confident, I think I can do it, my pace is good on the wet as well, so bring it on. And I think I like to see that kind of attitude as well, because that is the attitude of a real racer.
They do say, don't they, that to become a champion, you have to act like a champion. And René Lammers does really seem to have that sense of authority. The drivers go around for the formation lap, Just how nerve-wracking do you think it's going to be for a lot of the rookies in particular trying to cope with this circuit in mixable conditions on slick tyres? Because they don't get to change tyres. This could be a bit of a stop-and-start race. The safety car could come in. We may even get a red flag if it rains midway through the race. A lot of challenges to face.
Yes, I think that is pretty much the biggest challenge of today, because even if the rain doesn't come, the temperatures are very, very low on track right now. And especially for the rookies who have a lot less experience, it is going to be difficult for them. But I also think that the rookies from this year, they are very promising. They have shown themselves to be very, very quick. And most of them already drove here in the Spanish Winter Championship when the temperatures were also colder. So they already know this track well. They know it in the cold. So this shouldn't be too much of a difference, provided that the rain doesn't end up coming. As I look at the sky, I'm not sure if it will or will not. But if you want me to make a bet, I think the rain might respect us today.
Okay, well, we've decided to be ambitious and say that it's going to stay on side. As far as I'm concerned, you can't stop the change. If the weather does strike, it's going to strike very hard indeed. Alex, gracias. We'll come back to you as we need you over the course of the third race. Thank you for your help. So the battle is going to be an interesting one. Those skies are looking very ominous indeed as we get ourselves ready for the action once again. And on a race like this, it's going to be a fascinating situation for the third and final race of the weekend for all of the drivers. May the downforce be with them, because this is not going to be an easy circuit to tame if the rain comes down. Juan Cota and Ian Eichmann's on the front row of the starting grid. A nice change to see those two faces up front. René Lammers and Jan Paszczowski on the second row from Straven and Petrovic. Then Montero, Schwartz, Canthan and Nathan Ty. Miguel Costa 11th on the grid from Renault Franco. Then Francisco Mararca and Chris Elfagali. Filippo Fiorentino and Sasha Van Bosch from Nicolas Schaffler and Gino Trappa. Alfio Spina, Matas Reiber, Lorenzo Campos and Santino Beretta from Stepan Suzdov, Kyoho Lee, Nacho Tunion and Alexander Jacobi. Then Victor Dobzhanska, Santiago Bastarica, then Caden Higgins, Daniel Dalakian. And at the back of the grid, it is Alexander Bogunovic, not where he wanted to be at all. So he's got a lot of work to make up from the back of the field. So as the drivers work their way back to the start line, this is going to be an interesting one for the front row men. They've got a lot of pressure on their shoulders here, Juan Cota and Ian Eichmann's. The race wins have been shared out between René Lammers, Jan Paszczowski and Thomas Straven up to this point. So now it's going to be interesting to see if either Juan Cota or Ian Eichmann's can make the charge forward. And I know what a lot of you are thinking, certainly the Belgian contingent back home are screaming at their television screens now, let the rookie win. And it's not going to be as easy as that as they charge down to the first corner. Ian Eichmann's has got to do the job. And after the second race where he ended up with a section of his rear wing missing, that's definitely going to be an interesting omen going into this third and final race of the weekend. The second round of the championship. But there's one mission for Juan Cota on the front of the grid. Stay on target. Do not let the drivers further back drop out of sequence, and don't let them charge at you. It'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out. The drivers come to the starting grid, and it'll be a really exciting battle for all of the contenders. We'll see how we can go into the race battle. The last couple of drivers getting themselves into position as they charge their way to the first corner. It's going to be an interesting one right from the get-go. Windy circuit for the last race of the weekend. The green flag will fly from the marshal, and as the wind accelerates, the temperature drops and the grey skies become thick black clouds. We are ready for the third and final race of the weekend in the 2025 F4 Spanish Championship second round. Let's race one more time at Navarra. And it's a great start at the front end of the field for Juan Cota. A better start for Ian Eichmann. We've got someone on the grid at the back, stationary, but the rookie is going to charge forward. The rookie is going to take the lead. Ian Eichmann has got into first position ahead of Juan Cota. René Lammers is trying to go right round the outside of the Spaniard. So it's an interesting charge forward, and René Lammers has got traction around the outside. He's going to commit to it, and he'll get into second place. Brilliant from René Lammers into P2. The Dutchman has forced his way into the position. So an excellent charge forward from René Lammers. Now he's going to hustle Ian Eichmann all the way up the hill. Fourth position for Jan Paszczowski behind Juan Cota. But Cota has not made the start he wanted from pole position, and he's dropped back. Andrej Petrovic has made a good launch of things up into fifth position. So now ready levels. Whoa, one of the Campos is going out wide there. And a very wide trajectory further back. So that's ended up being a very difficult opening lap for some drivers. Down into the braking zone. Through goes Jan Pastrovsky, trying to go side by side again with Andrej Petrovic. But Ian Eichmans has held his nerve in the lead for the time being. Petrovic is still committing, trying to get to the move to the inside line in 4th position. Ahead of the pole, he will not back down. And he's going to make it stick as Pastrovsky has to drift out wide. Somebody's lost a piece of their car, flapping in the breeze. As the rest of the field tries to pick their way through, hopefully without incident. But Ian Eichmans, the Belgian, leads the way here as the sky gets darker again. Into the braking zone for the anti-penultimate corner. Drivers trying to pick their way through. Lots of opportunities to let it slip. And this first lap is obviously a bit of a pressure cooker. Drivers try and fly their way through these apexes, hoping that they're going to have it nice and clean on the way to the line. And Ian Eichmans is your race leader as we watch the drivers at the back of the field scrabble away. But it's Eichmans in the lead. Kota, Petrovic, Pastrovsky, Schwartz, Straven, Montero, Ty and Renault Franco. And we're going to go wheel to the first corner as Nathan Ty tries to get his way past the inside of Noah Montero. That drifts him out wide. Renault Franco to Vivek Canthan are there to snatch. Canthan on the inside of Franco. Trying to dive in at turn 3, and there's contact! Nathan Ty for the 2nd race in a row. He drifts across the field, and there's absolutely nowhere for the drivers to go. Oh my goodness. That is Montero and Ty. They come together, and the way that the cars split, I think several cars hit them on the way by. It's absolute pandemonium here as Montero, Ty, and I think Nacho Tunion are the worst affected. Absolute disaster. That couldn't have gone any worse if he tried. There's the initial contact as Ty gets hit by Montero. He spears into the side of his opponent, and then there's more carnage as other drivers go wide and off the circuit to avoid them. Well, Nathan Ty and Noah Montero, it was very clear who touched who. Montero and Ty came together. Ty's wheel is broken. He spears back into the side, and that is Alfio Spina in the TC racing car. He can't go any further. Safety car, of course. Nathan Ty points at Noah Montero. That was your fault, Sunshine. Oh, that was a very interesting opening couple of laps. And a very angry Nathan Ty makes his feelings clear about Noah Montero. The Skywalker has been shunted. And he gives a very angry gesticulatory word in his helmet as Nacho Tunion's damaged car is parked up as well. Chaos, an absolute pandemonium here at Navarra in the 3rd race of the weekend. Well, fortunately, it looks like pretty much everybody has got away with that, with either a damaged car or a different position in the line. Alex Garcia is down in pit lane. It looks like there's going to be some pit lane activity as the safety car is out. Alex, what can you tell us? Who's on the move? Well, I thought we had Alex down there, only our cameraman was in position, so we'll try and get a little bit of an update from Alex Garcia a little later on. But as you can see, the cars are stationary in the middle of the racetrack. No way at all could we continue on with this race under green flag conditions. So it's a very interesting situation. Into the pits comes the Campos racing car of Matthäus Reiber, the Griffin core by Campos car. So he is one of many drivers in dire straits. 2 cars abandoned a couple of corners after the chaos that we had from Noah Montero and Nathan Ty. That really has blown this race wide open, as our pictures down in pit lane show us. It looks as though Matthäus Reiber is going to retire from the race. He is indeed. So more problems for drivers. We've got Tunion, Ty, Montero, Spina and Reiber all out of the race from a chaotic scene down here at Navarra. Alex, what can you tell us?
Well, we're seeing Matthäus. We are seeing, of course, the number 19 Matthäus Reiber Campos racing machine back to the pit lane. And well, basically it's what we were mentioning just now. It's what we saw on the screens, on the replay as well. That was a pretty bold move as well from Nathan Ty. And unfortunately, as you know, when there's too many cars in too tight a spot, this is what ends up happening. It is unfortunate because the track was probably not in a bad state. The rain is not here yet, so this was more perhaps an overly ambitious situation from a few drivers. And well, unfortunately, this is one less competitor, and we have this safety car still ongoing. But hopefully, race should be restarted, I expect, pretty soon. And I should want that because, as you said earlier, nobody likes a race that goes on for too long behind the safety car.
Yeah, and it was a very chaotic situation. We've just got the replay on our screens now. Montero and Ty tagging. Ty sliding back into the side of Montero. And then absolute chaos ensues as cars literally get spat out in various different positions. We finally got the replay of what happened to Spina and Tunion as their cars are completely destroyed by taking avoiding action. We could have had a multiple car pile-up there with Montero and Ty blocking the circuit essentially on the exit of turn 3. So incredible reactions from the drivers. I'm amazed, to be honest, that we've only lost 5 cars. Very dramatic scenes here so far, Alex, and it looks as though there are some very frustrated drivers now walking down pit road and back into their garages.
Absolutely, because it is a point which is very, very tight, and it is, if you look at any onboard camera online, for example, you would know that corner exit is a little bit blind. So that is exactly why some of the drivers just completed the turn and found that carnage in front of them, and at that point there's nothing that you can do other than just try to react and pray for the best.
Well, Alex, I know you need to give a similar report to our Spanish viewers, so I'll let you go and do that. Thanks for the update.
Thank you very much, Jake. Looking forward to meeting you later.
I'm sure you will. You'll get plenty of opportunities in a race as chaotic as this one, as the mechanics at Monlau are keeping an eye on their drivers. Francisco Monarca currently running in 5th place in rookie and 12th position overall. And their other drivers are doing a fair job as well. Alexander Jacobi and Lorenzo Campos both still circulating as the marshals are going to work. They've got a lot to recover on the circuit. 4 cars that are needing to be recovered. Nathan Ty, Noah Montero, Nacho Tunion and Alfio Spina all involved in that incident, as Montero and Ty obviously colliding with each other, then spearing across the track, locked together like 2 crabs desperately trying to untangle each other off the shore. And unfortunately, there were a couple of cars going off the road, 2 of which had big enough damage to end their race on the spot. Alfio Spina and Nacho Tunion. And then Matas Reiber had damage that brought him limping back to the pits. A couple of drivers ended up having to take massive avoiding action. Filippo Fiorentino and Gino Trapper were the ones who came off worst. They ended up dropping the Drivex teammates down to the back of the field. That really has shuffled the decks, though, in terms of the order. Eichmanns is still the leader from Lammers and Kota. Petrovic in 4th place in front of Petrovsky and Hudson Schwartz. Thomas Straubert all the way down in 7th place. He has not had a good start to this race. Renaud Frankert is 8th. Then the second best rookie, Vivek Canton, is in 9th ahead of Chris Alfagali. Nicolas Schaufler 11th. Francisco Monarca is now 12th in front of Costa, Van Podbosch, Lee, Panetta, Jacobi, Suslov, Delakian, and in 20th place is Caden Higgins as we are about to go racing. Safety car, I believe, is going to come in on the next lap. They've still got a bit of work to do to tidy things up on the circuit. So we've got at least another lap behind the safety car, because when you've got 4 cars to recover on 2 separate parts of the circuit, you've got to give the recovery crews their dues. So there on the back of the low loader is Nacho Tunion's Technicar. Noah Montero's Campos has already been recovered, as has Nathan Ty's Rodin. They're now just finishing off the recovery for Alfio Spina's TC racing car. Matas Reiber is out of the race as well. He managed to limp his Griffin core back to the pit lane. But the fastest lap of the race has come from Ian Eichmanns, just a whisker quicker than René Lammers. On the restart, this is all going to come down to the rookie's charge. But Ian Eichmanns, although he's a rookie in F4, he's certainly no rookie to competitive adversity. In his tenure as a racing driver in the FIA Karting European and World Championships and in the Miami X30 Euro Series and the Miami World Finals, he's had plenty of suspense and drama from the front end of the field. He's had to deal with quite a few restarts from pole position in his day. So it really is going to be a fascinating opportunity for the Belgian to take his first racing car victory on only his 6th attempt. And it would be a fascinating journey that's seen him go through so much adversity. Ian Eichmanns, who is himself the son of a great racing driver. Wim Eichmanns, very talented racing driver, rose the ranks of Formula 3000 and various different single-seater categories himself. Worked himself all the way to the Indy 500 in the United States of America. A very proud Dutchman, now masterminding the Eichmanns racing team in karting, including his son's progress. The fans are loving the action, even if they're behind the safety car at the moment. But it really is going to be a fascinating rejuvenation as the drivers are continuing around the course. So still the battle will be very exciting on the restart. In the midfield in particular, I think we're going to see quite a few drivers pushing for an exciting run. In the rookies charge, we've got 2nd through 9th all together on circuit. Vivek Kanthan, Chris Alfagali, Nicolas Schaufler, Francisco Monarca, and then Miki Costa in the Campos, Sacha Van Bosch in the T-Code, Kyo Lee in the Rodin, and Santino Panetta in the TC Racing as we just watched Nacho Tunion's Technicar being recovered. Down at GRS, it's certainly going better than it was at the start. Daniel Dalakian is now in 19th and Alexander Bogunovic is in 22nd. Right, the safety car is in this lap, so it's up to Ian Eichmans now to control the pace of the field as we get ourselves to a start once again. Eichmans is backing the pack up. He's not going for gold just yet. Still warming up the tyres. He's certainly not going as early as René Lammers did on his safety car restart. Keep an eye on Ian Eichmans. Everybody else is just keeping it nice and straight. Eichmans is still warming up the tyres. Now he's gone for it in the penultimate corner. He's dropped the hammer. So now we're going into a battle. As far as René Lammers was concerned, it was a trap. And oh, there's contact on the restart as cars are scrabbling all over the place. On the restart, we've got carnage as the race gets underway. It's green, 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 green. But for how much longer? Eichmans leads Lammers into turn 1. Kota is going to be there at the line ahead of Petrovic. But we've got damage, we've got chaos as several cars have not come through. So we've got a major issue on the restart as Stepan Suslov, I think it is in the DXR, has come a cropper. Alexander Jacobi went down there as well. So down at the back of the field, that's not a Monlau, that's a Stepan Suslov. So the drivers continue as they climb up the hill. Wheel-to-wheel stuff, drivers still sliding around, and wet tyres are being prepared because there is rain in the area. That is Stepan Suslov's DXR, and he's on the racetrack, stationary. He can't move, so I think we could have a safety car again here. No fault of his own. The concertina effect of that restart has definitely cost him big time. The yellow flags are there, but surely, if he can't move the car, we're going to get another safety car almost instantly. So with 16 and a half minutes roughly to go in the race, it's still Eichmans in front of Lammers. Kota is under pressure here from Andrej Petrovic, who's having a terrific race. The T-Code driver looking for his first podium of the season. Straubing and Petrovsky, the Griffin Court teammates, are now scrapping over P5. Well, it looks as though the marshals have been quick to react to Stepan Suslov's car being stationary. Here's what happened. Look, the concertina, bang, bang, bang. And several cars get pitched around. And it was Stepan Suslov's car that stalled. Everybody else managed to take avoiding action despite the contact. So that restart could get investigated. But the circuit is now clear because Stepan Suslov's car has been removed from the final turn. So we can stay green. Eichmans and Lammers have broken away from Juan Kota. Petrovic trying to go with the Spaniard. Straubing, Petrovsky, Schwartz, Franco, and El Fagali. That's the top 9 at the moment. Top 10 is rounded out by Vivek Kanthan, ahead of Schaufler and Francisco Monarca. Locking up. Big dive on the inside line from one of the Campos cars. That's Vivek Kanthan, I think, trying to make his move. No, sorry, that was Petrovsky and Straubing trying to get their moves on Petrovic. So we're even further up the field than we first realised as René Lammers puts intense pressure on Ian Eichmans. So the race lead is under scrutiny. 4th position is under scrutiny. There's Lammers chasing after Ian Eichmans, and they've got to make hay while the sun is still trying to shine because the rain could hit the circuit at any time. And then the drivers will suddenly find on slick tyres, those aren't the tyres they're looking for. They'll be wanting slicks for a little while longer, but if the rain comes, it'll be straight to wets. But of course they can't do that unless they get a safety car and then unless they get a red flag. So this is going to be a really tricky situation for the drivers if the rain does start to fall in the closing stages of this race. So a very unhappy Stepan Suslov walks away from his car. That is not the way he wanted this race to go. So a very difficult situation then. As up the inside, that is Petrovic diving in on Kota. What a brilliant move from Andrej Petrovic. Kota's going to try and come back at him. Up towards 14. He's going to stay far side. He'll drift off onto the curb, but he'll keep his foot in. And they bang wheels as they race for 3rd position. They both drift off the racetrack. And now Straubing and Petrovsky are going to try their best to move their way forward. Petrovsky trying to hunt the movement, but Strauven is up to third place, side by side. 3 wide on the run to turn 1, and Strauven has got past both of them. They were so busy racing each other that they forgot that Strauven was there. Kota is now going to try and run this car right round the outside. Petrovic has a look to the inside line, and it's a little bit squirrely up at turn 3, but Strauven retains third position. Magnificent racing here at Navarra in the third and final race of the weekend. And so René Lammers hunts down Ian Eichmans. Eichmans is handling the pressure ever so well up the hill. This is a very tough race to control, especially when you've got someone of the experience and relentless nature of René Lammers. But these two have raced each other before outside of cars. In the world of karting, they were adversaries as well. Down to the braking zone. Here's a chance around the outside for Petrovic on Juan Kota. The Technicar driver's not going to be given a lot of moves. He'll have a little bit of space. He'll keep his car to the outside. Kota knows he's still there. And the T-Code car, which is the Technicar satellite team, he'll dive up the inside. Lovely, thank you very much indeed. And that's Lammers. Lammers has got ahead of Eichmans. So after all of that work from Ian Eichmans, Lammers has found the move. He must have done so at the hairpin. I wonder if we'll get another look at that, but Lammers has been able to find his way past Ian Eichmans. So the lead has changed, and René Lammers looks like he could make it a hat-trick of victories here in Navarra. Of course, only 2 of those are going to stand if he clinches the victory here. And diving up the inside line, that is a very tough move on Piotrowski from Juan Kota, who manages to get himself back up the order. And now he's drifting to the pit wall to try and keep Piotrowski from getting level with him. You can't hunt him down too close to the pit wall. Kota is relentlessly holding his line. They're almost over into the pit exit, sorry. As Hudson Schwartz battling with Renault Franco. Now Piotrowski goes the long way round at turn 2. Can he hold it round the outside? If the pole can finish off this move, he would be an absolute legend. He's off on the grass. He keeps his foot back in. Powers to the inside line. And he's managed to squeeze the Spaniard. Don't you dare try and take me on. Jan Piotrowski drives out of his skin and pulls off the move for P5. Relentless determination from the pole, and he sticks it to his man. I have the high ground, says Jan Piotrowski. Fantastic stuff. And he manages to keep his position. What an amazing duel. They go down the back straight, and now Schwartz has seen it and gone, right, well, if you can get past Juan Kota, so can I. Excellent stuff. Back up towards turn 9, they will go. Up to the left-hand hairpin. I think this is where Lammers got his move on Ian Eichmans to take the lead. Eichmans is still looking good for the rookie victory, but he wanted to get the victory overall. So now Piotrowski's move on Juan Kota has put the pole into a very solid P5. Hudson Schwartz staying in front of the Dutchman Renault Franco as they get down to the tight radius. 10 minutes to go, and essentially the drivers are not only racing each other, they're racing the skies, because this could be a very difficult race if we get rain in the last 10 minutes. Down the main straight, and Lammers is leading in front of Ian Eichmans. The sons of 2 famous racing drivers from the 90s, Jan Lammers and Wim Eichmans, are watching their sons do battle in Spanish F4. Right, down to the first corner. Hudson Schwartz is having to protect big time on Renault Franco. Franco's trying to hold the MP right round the outside. Slides, cuts back in. That's magic from Renault Franco. What a move from the Dutchman. Sensational as Renault Franco completely switches tack and catches Hudson Schwartz out. That was a bold and brave move, and he now puts himself at a P7. Wow, there are some amazing overtakes coming in now. This is going to be such a sensational race battle. There's a busy program in the calendar here at Navarra this weekend with more of the Spanish Championship races to come. So they can't afford to extend the race too far if there is a red flag. Down to the braking zone. Red Bull's going wheel to wheel. They're about to bang wheels if they're not careful. Chris Alfagali goes wheel to wheel with Nicholas Schaufler. Gets the move on the inside line as 2 cars drift wide. This is magnificent in the lower section. We've got Alfagali, Canthan, Schaufler and Miggy Costa having a terrific squabble. Down the outside, Vivek Canthan's going to get to the inside line of his teammate, Miguel Costa is going to only leave the slightest bit of room, and it's Chris Alfagali who goes into the chicane with the advantage. So it's Alfagali, Costa, Canthan, Schaufler, then Santino Panetta in the TC Racing car. And up the inside, that looks like it's going to be a move from Fiorentino in the Drivex to dive in on the inside of Kyoho Lee in the Rodin. Here they come again, and we got two cars going into the pits in the background, two cars limping. Looks like they might have some damage there. And that is Fiorentino and Monarca. So the Drivex and the Monlau are both coming into the pits. Looks like they've both picked up some damage during that lap. What a difficult race this is turning into. We're getting car after car dropping out of the race here. If Fiorentino and Monarca are both out, then we're going to drop to just 23 runners of the 31 that started. Big lockup for Alfagali. He's got to be very careful now, the Lebanese driver, to hold on to this one. But the Drivex driver currently in 9th place. Change of nose cone in the pit lane for the 37, Filippo Fiorentino. So Filippo Fiorentino is going to have a change of front wing if they can get it done relatively quickly. And they've done it, so out goes the Drivex driver. And he may as well go back out onto the circuit, because on a race like this, with the rain imminent, you never know what can happen. If several cars go off the road, then suddenly Fiorentino could be looking at getting himself back towards the top end of the field. You just don't know. Big dive up the inside. Here comes Nicolas Schaufler. The Austrian dives in on Vivek Canthan. Canthan is not going to be a pushover. He stays to the left side of the Austrian, and the American keeps his foot in. And retiring from the race is Daniel Dalakian in the GRS. So Alfagali holds his nerve, and up the inside, Vivek Canthan goes back on Schaufler. So Schaufler is not going to be able to have an easy run of this. Vivek Canthan finishes the move as the mechanics push the GRS back into the pits for the Armenian Daniel Dalakian. Francisco Monarca's gone back out onto the circuit. So now we've only got 24 cars running. Not what the doctor ordered in this one. But a very exciting race battle still developing here. And it's going to be a really exciting end to the race if this keeps going. Well, out in front, René Lammers is a second clear of Ian Eichmans. A further second now ahead of Thomas Strauven. René Lammers has had bad luck in the last few races, but in my experience, there is no such thing as luck. And he's certainly making his own luck at the moment. Excellent work from the man up front. René Lammers is just making this championship his own. The stewards may be out to get him, in his opinion. But I tell you what, he's certainly doing the business out on the racetrack. So an excellent run up the hill. The contenders still having a great duel. Here is the battle further back. This is Chris Alfagali, 9th position. This is the race for 2nd position in the rookie category. We've got so many drivers in that fight. Alfagali, Costa, Canthan, Schaufler, Lee and Panetta. All in a line, and they all want to get onto the podium in the rookie category. And the last 2 points paying positions in the overall championship as well. 6 minutes to go, plus the additional lap. The rain has not broken cover yet. So Alex Garcia's prediction appears to be coming true for the moment. But will we get a last couple of laps disaster here at Navarra? The skies are still very black overhead. There was a speeding in the pit lane incident under investigation. Not entirely sure who that is for. We certainly don't have a number with that incident at the moment, but I'm sure that's going to be updated soon on the race control message board. Just 24 cars still running in this race. Dalakian, Suslov, Reiber, Spina, Montero, Tai and Tunion all out of the race. But up front, it is René Lammers leading Ian Eichmans, who is going to get his best finish of the season if he can hang on to 2nd place. And that's only if he can hang on to 2nd place, because Thomas Strauven is right back on his tail. This is going to get tricky from here on in. The Belgian against the Belgian. So Eichmans and Strauven both have come through the karting ranks together. Strauven a little younger than Ian Eichmans, but both drivers have come up through the ranks of the Belgian karting circuits at Genk and various other locations at Marienborg as well, at Karting de Fagnes. And these guys have done a fantastic job to continue their prowess into cars. But now we're going to get to see if Ian Eichmans can hold the charge of Thomas Strauven. Eichmans has had a longer time in karting than Thomas Strauven, who essentially the second he turned 15 decided I've had enough of this. I'm going to go straight into cars. Ian Eichmans decided he wanted those extra couple of years of experience. Strauven's going to dive up the inside. Eichmans has got to leave him space, and Strauven will get the job done. So Strauven up into second position ahead of Ian Eichmans now. So Eichmans has now got to try and retaliate, but a great recovery from Thomas Strauven. At one point in this race, it looked as if Strauven was all at sea. Remember at the safety car period when he was down in 7th position? And here he is now in P2. What an amazing race from Strauven. Lammers may have worked his way to the lead, but the star of the day has got to be Thomas Strauven. Petrovic P4, Rashrovsky in P5, then Kota, Franco, here's Hudson Schwartz in the KCL MP car, and back to the front we go over the line with 3.5 minutes left. Lammers leads Strauven, Eichmans and Petrovic. But Strauven wants the win. He doesn't want second place. Second place is okay. A victory is what he really wants. He's only had one this season. Of course, technically, so too is René Lammers. He wants to get win number 2, which would be his 5th win in a row on the road. We're going to see a replay of the move of Strauven diving in on Eichmans. Belgium versus Belgium. And it's the superior experience there of Strauven that puts him ahead of Ian Eichmans. Meanwhile, Vivek Kanthan has found a very exciting battle on his hands, and he's made the move on the Red Bull youngsters. So Vivek Kanthan, who is now desperately trying to catch back up to his teammate Miguel Costa. He's dropped 2 seconds behind him. Now he's got all sorts of pressure because he's got Schaufler and El Faghali all over him. Further back, we've got Kyoho Lee, who's worked his way up into 13th place. A good work from the Korean. So Kyoho Lee's doing a great job. Lots of lockups and a little bit of dust kicked up in the background. So what can Nicholas Schaufler do here to get on terms with Vivek Kanthan and steal the final point? It wouldn't just be stealing the final point, it would be putting a Red Bull Junior on the rookie podium as well. Off the turn, up towards the hairpin. Wait for the opportunity. The gap is opening up a little bit now for Schaufler, but he can't take too big a risk with 2 minutes to go. He needs to wait for the ultimate overtaking move to open up. René Lammers extending his advantage, but Strauven is getting closer to him. A 1:46.7, the fastest lap of the race last time out for Strauven, despite the overtake on Ian Eichmans. As Lammers goes across the line, Strauven is catching him. The gap is down to 9/10 of a second. He's really got to push. He's got 1.5 minutes as he comes across the line. So he's only got 2 laps to go for the lead on René Lammers. This is going to be a tight race now for Thomas Strauven. Every single sector counts. Every single apex has got to be perfect if he's going to catch up to René Lammers and then go for an overtaking move. So what's happening further back? Whoa, that is a lot of grass eaten there by the GRS. That's a GRS team lawnmower. And it's left so much grass on the back straight. That's where these guys are about to get to. So they've got to be careful on the way through. We're not going to get a safety car, I don't think, but there's so much grass on the track. Get out of the way of it, guys. Well, that very nearly throws up a disaster for the drivers down the straight. As into the pits comes one of the Red Bull Junior drivers, and that, I'm afraid to say, is Chris El Faghali. So Chris El Faghali in the Drivex is out of this race as well. That means we've only got 23 cars running this race now from the 31 that started. Almost a third of the field gone. Big disaster for the Lebanese driver. That is not what he needed. So René Lammers trying to pull away from Thomas Strauven, but Strauven is putting the pressure on him. His tyres are clearly better as they go into the penultimate couple of corners of the lap. Strauven has got to push, push, push. He's got the gap down to about half a second, but he's got a lap and a half to take him on. In fact, he's got less than that. They're going to come out of the final turn. 3, 2, 1, time's up. When they cross the line, they've only got 1 lap to go. Strauven has got to push. Over the line we go. 0.3 of a second. Strauven has done so much hard work here to close up on René Lammers. But can he go for the move? Turn 1. Up to 2. Closing up. He's really good in this section of the course. He's going to die for it! On the inside of René Lammers at turn 3. Wow, that could have been his one moment. He got very greedy. His eyes were wider than his stomach there. But he knows he's still got a fast car underneath him. He can try again later in the lap. Up the hill. Takes a very tight trajectory on the left-hander up through the right. And trying to get themselves back to the back straight again. Again, Straven is quick here. Onto the back straight, dodge the grass. Let's see if Straven is going to get one final chance of an overtake here on the man up front, René Lammers. Straven would dearly love to put one over on the Dutchman in the lead of the race as they go out of the right-hander, down to the braking zone for the left. Straven looking for his overtaking move. He's going to have to play this one very cool in the next couple of corners. I don't think this is where you're going to make the move, Thomas. You're going to have to be brave in the final couple of corners of the race. Straven still within 3/10. Right, left of the chicane, down towards the tight radius apex. I think René Lammers might have done enough here, but Straven will take every risk he possibly can to close up on Lammers. Lammers' tyres are flailing fast, but is there one big fight? Down to the final turn, Straven will try and commit, he's not going to get there. René Lammers is going to take it to the line, laugh it up fuzzball, I've got you again. And down to the straight, they're going to go side by side, but it's going to be René Lammers. He will get to the line first. Fantastic racing at Navarra. René Lammers takes the win from Thomas Straven. Ian Eichmans comes home third as the leading rookie, ahead of Petrovic, Petrovski, Franco, Schwartz and Kota. The last 2 point scorers will be Miguel Costa and Vivek Kanthan. What a sensational third race of the weekend. That had all the drama in the world, and incredibly, despite the skies, not a single drop of rain. René Lammers holding on for dear life there in front of Thomas Straven. Eichmans is third overall and a rookie winner. Very deserving indeed for the Belgian. But absolutely sensational stuff. René Lammers starting in third position. That looked quite difficult at the start of the race to get ahead of Juan Cota and Ian Eichmans, but his message was clear. Never tell me the odds. I am going to get this done. Wonderful stuff. Great drive from this man, Ian Eichmans. He had a lot of pressure on him. He only lost a couple of places, but he still takes the rookie win by a country mile ahead of Vivek Kanthan and Nicholas Schaufler. And pound for pound, lap for lap, he does appear to be the only one of the rookies at the moment who can consistently run with the top three race by race. He hasn't had a lot of luck, but he has shown a lot of pace. And that is going to be quite dramatic in terms of the Drivers' Championship as well, because René Lammers will come home with 25 points, Straven will take 18, and Jan Petrovski in 5th position. That is only going to be good enough for 10 points. So Petrovski, who was the championship leader, is now going to have 90 points. René Lammers scores 25. In fact, does he score 26 for the fastest lap? No, Straven is going to score a bonus point for the fastest lap. So Straven is going to end this weekend with 97 points. And René Lammers, with that victory, is going to put himself up to 104. So that definitely gives the Dutchman a little bit of an advantage. He's only 7 points now in front of Thomas Straven in the championship fight. But what a battle. What a great race it's been in the third and final race of the weekend here at Circuito de Navarra in Los Arcos in Spain. What a fantastic weekend. And this Circuito de Navarra circuit, I really hope it stays. I hope we get more great races on this facility because it's driven us to 3 classic battles. Absolutely sensational racing. In the first race of the weekend, we had some great battles. We had a new hope for the Polish driver Jan Petrovski to continue his resurgence ahead of René Lammers. René Lammers, the Dutch Empire, struck back in the second round. And then, of course, after the resurgence of Thomas Straven, it was the return of the Belgian Jedi. But nobody could stop this man from eclipsing all before him. Excellent work. The force is definitely with this man, René Lammers, another mighty victor, and it's his father, Jan Lammers, who comes home to greet him. The original Dutch Sith Lord out of the car will get René Lammers. He stands across the car. I am the victor. I am the new king of Navarra. Excellent job from the MP superstar. Well, he said it. You did it again. So that means that on the road, René Lammers has now won 5 races in a row. Okay, the first 3 of those were taken off him with track limits penalties. But that means that René Lammers' form pound for pound in this championship is absolutely unstoppable. Thomas Straven gave it everything he had to try and take on René Lammers. It just wasn't to be. Good effort, made 2 big lunges during the course of the last lap. If he'd have just waited for the first big attack, I think he might have had a better shot down the back straight. They shake on a good and fair fight, but I think Straven wanted so much more. And that could have really turned the tide in the championship fight as well. As it is, he's 7 points behind René Lammers. They could easily have traded places. Could be Thomas Straven as the championship leader now, rather than René Lammers. But he'll bounce back in style, I'm sure. When we converge at the Algarve International Circuit in Portimao in Portugal, the battle will resume. Alex Garcia is with the King of Navarra, René Lammers.
Welcome back, René. I think I may call you the King of Navarra from now on. And I am worried about one thing. You may get bored of me, because we've been meeting so many times this year. What is the secret?
Yeah, I mean, hard work's the secret, you know. I think me and the team have been working really hard, especially with some test days where we were really struggling, but you know, together we managed to get the setup right and to get a step on the others as well. So yeah, I'm very happy to keep it going like this.
And of course now you have to start thinking of the championship, because the pace is obviously there. As you said, the team is working perfectly. You're combining very well with them. So the goal, definitely to win the championship this year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, already from the start that was the goal, and from now on we realized that it's definitely possible. So I'm ready to fight for the championship, and I hope me and the team can keep this pace going.
And how fun is it to be able to fight with drivers whom you can enjoy these battles on track? Because I saw that you were also congratulating each other. I think sporting-wise, this is a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, on track and off track are 2 different things. You know, on track we obviously fight each other very hard and as hard as possible, but off the track we still remain all good friends. And I think there's no hate in between us. Maybe 2 drivers have something in between them, obviously, but most of the time there's a great relationship with the other people. So I'm happy that I have those relationships with them.
All right, René, then time to go enjoy your podium with your friends then.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Congratulations. And this is the rise of the Dutchman, clearly, with René Lammers completing a full house of wins, although only the first one will be gone, the other 2 will stick. And this means that he is, I would think that we can all agree, the clear favorite for the 2025 championship. And Jake, I have to say, probably when he looks at his father, he might say, well, you know, my father was a purebred racing driver just before me.
Very good point. I mean, in the words of Shmi Skywalker, to paraphrase, you can't stop René Lammers any more than you can stop the suns from setting, it seems. His pace has just been absolutely phenomenal over the course of the weekend. But that third race had so much drama woven into it, so much flotsam and jetsam. The cool heads of the drivers really were fantastic to witness. And I have to say, through all of the drama and all of the chaos, we actually had a real classic of a race there. There were some great performances. Look at Petrovic. Look at the rise back of Vivek Kanthan to work his way further forward. There's been some really solid performances there, some great efforts, and it's wonderful to see what they produced.
Yes, exactly. And I think above all, it's what you were saying, this Circuito de Navarra has proven to be a fantastic addition to the series. We saw that a little bit, hints of it, on the Spanish Winter Championship, but now we have no doubt in our minds. So I definitely, just as you said before, I hope that we keep the circuit for the next few years, because it is a fantastic place for these Formula 4 machines, and it has shown us what Formula 4 racing can be like at its best.
Absolutely right. I can't disagree with that one, Alex. We love the Circuito de Navarra. Long may it stay on the calendar. Alex, thank you so much for your great work over the course of the weekend. It's been a fantastic battle here at the Circuito de Navarra. 3 great races. René Lammers has won all 3 of them on the road. He may have lost the first one, but the rise of the Dutchman is absolutely inevitable. Great performances all the way through from René Lammers, ahead of Thomas Straven. A fantastic battle all the way to the finish line. Ian Eichmann's picking up the rookie victory. The final podium positions, by the way, in the rookie class, Vivek Kanthan and Niklas Schaufler, as there was a couple of post-race penalties to take into account by the look of things. Absolutely sensational run to the flag all the way through, though. Wonderful racing. Fantastic stuff. So, with the battle all wrapped up and concluded here at the Circuito Navarra, we've just got enough time to get you to the podium ceremony. So we'll get to celebrate with the Dutchmen and the Belgians on the podium. Ian Eichmans not only takes the rookie victory, but he will go to the top step of the rookie podium with the American Vivek Kanthan and Niklas Schaufler, the Austrian. Come with us up to the podium ceremony as Ian Eichmans will walk out to third position. You can see Niklas Schaufler there getting ready to go to the third spot on the podium, having a nice joke there with René Lammers. Thomas Straven ventures out to second position. Is it my turn? I'm afraid it is. Or he's rather hoping that René Lammers would walk out to the podium first. For a while on that last lap, it looked like it might have gone that way. Straven did get the fastest lap of the race, but Lammers had the defensive tactics. He had the relentlessness. He had the know-how to hold on to the lead. What a fantastic weekend it's been for René Lammers. Other than a couple of track limits moments in race one, René Lammers has been relentless and flawless. The Flying Dutchman has been superb, and he is looking like an ominous domination streak heading to the next round of the championship at the Algarve International Circuit in Portimao a month from now. What an opportunity this is for the Dutchman to reign supreme.
Bueno, pues fuerte el aplauso para René Lammers.
There were only 2 points between the top three drivers in the championship heading into race 3. That's certainly not the way it looks anymore. There's now 14 points between the top three, with René Lammers taking a 7-point swing in his favour ahead of Thomas Straven. Straven is now 7 points clear of Jan Piotrowski. But what a fantastic end to the weekend here at the Circuito de Navarra in Los Arcos. After 2 great weekends at Alcañiz on the Motorland Aragon, and here in Los Arcos at the Circuito de Navarra, there's still some great racing to come this season. 2 more trips in the summer away from the Spanish motor racing circuits. We've got the Algarve International Circuit at Portimao on the first weekend of June. And 2 weeks later, we head to the Circuit Port Ricard in Le Castellet in the south of France. And then we've got 3 more trips in Spain to round out the season at the former Formula One venue at Jerez de la Frontera, the Circuito de Jerez in September, and then at Cheste, the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia at the middle part of October, before the season finale at Momelo, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, about to host its last Formula One Grand Prix, certainly for the time being, but with plenty more F4 Spanish races in its future, I'm sure. As the 3 drivers get their final trophies of the weekend, Ian Eichmans will get 2 for the rookie win and 3rd overall. Thomas Straven comes up with 2nd, but René Lammers is untouchable at Navarra. In race trim, he is unbeatable in the 2nd round of the championship. On the road, he has now won 5 races in a row. Can anybody stop him in his march to the title? Well, a month from now, we're going to converge again on the Algarve International Circuit in Portimao for the 3rd weekend of 7 in this year's 2025 F4 Spanish Championship, certified by FIA. And we'll leave the drivers to their celebrations on the podium as they get busy with the fizzy here at Navarra. One more time of asking. Great to see the drivers Ian Eichmans, Thomas Straven and René Lammers celebrate. From myself, Jake Stanson, my colleague Alex Garcia and the whole team at the Killite Agency, it's been a delight to share 3 more races of the Spanish F4 Championship with you. We'll be back a month from now in the Algarve in Portimao. Adios, amigos.